It's Tuesday today, the second day of Holy Week, and our reading for today comes from John chapter 12, and I'm going to be focusing particularly on verse 21. There were some Greek people around Jesus at that time, and they wanted to meet him. And so they came to one of the disciples, Philip, and said, "Sir, we want to see Jesus. Sir, we would like to see Jesus." Philip then goes to Andrew and speaks to him about this, and then the two of them go together to speak to Jesus. And then Jesus appears to speak to them as well as to these Greek people who have been looking for him, who want to see him. I thought it was really interesting how there's this chain of people from these Greek people who are curious about Jesus, who then speak to Philip, who then speaks to Andrew, and they all then go together and speak to Jesus. And so I was looking to see, are there any similar patterns like this in the Bible, particularly related to Philip and Andrew? I was wondering, why would Philip go and speak to Andrew? Why wouldn't he just take these people directly to Jesus? Well, if we go back to the first chapter of the Gospel according to John, we read about the calling of both Philip and Andrew. And actually, in both cases, we see a similar kind of pattern of one person going to call another person. In John 1, verse 43, Jesus sees and calls Philip. And Philip immediately goes to find his friend Nathanael and says to him, "We have found the one that Moses wrote about." And he says to him, "Come and see. Come and see this one that we have been reading about in the books of Moses." And so quite similarly to the Greeks who said, "We would like to see Jesus," Philip says to Nathanael, "Come and see the one who has been written about." A couple of verses before that, in John 1, verse 41, Jesus calls Andrew, and Andrew asks him, "Where are you staying?" And Jesus says to him, "Come and you will see. Come and you will see." And then Andrew immediately runs off and goes to find Simon, one of his friends. And he says to Simon, "We have found the Messiah." And then Simon goes with Andrew to meet Jesus. And this is where Jesus renames Simon as Peter. So here we have three stories, all involving Andrew and Philip, in which one person hears about Jesus or is curious to meet Jesus, and then it draws another person and says, "Come and see, come and see." Jesus himself says, "Come and see, come and see." I think it's really important that we recognize that although God is quite capable of doing everything himself, that God can fix everything in the world, that God can change our hearts, that God can call us, that God can reveal himself to us, that God is able to do all of these things, and yet, repeatedly in the gospel stories, we read about God partnering with other people. And in our readings today, we see people who have met Jesus introducing him to other people. We see brothers inviting their brothers, and friends inviting their friends, and people immediately going and saying, "Come and see, come and see." So I want to say to you today, if you're watching this video, come and see Jesus. He is here, and he is available. He is always willing to engage with us. We don't have to be in a particular state of crisis, and we certainly don't have to be in a state of perfection or righteousness. We just have to be interested and curious. And perhaps like those Greek people, we just need to say, "We would like to see Jesus." My prayer is that when you seek him, you will indeed find him.